Do you ever just have one of those days where, I don't know, everything goes wrong? I just spent the last 20 minutes recording this intro and I didn't have the microphone plugged in, so let's try it again. Here we go. Back in 1932, two Scottish gentlemen, a Mr. Kemp and Heddle, came up with a pattern to be fishing on Loch Harry, which is one of the premier trout lakes in Scotland. Now the pattern is called the Ke-He, which is a pretty clever name. It's the first two letters of each of their last name, and I found it in Mike Dawes' The Fly Tyers Manual. Pretty cool book. I hope to be doing a review on this one sometime in the next couple of weeks. Now Dawes mentions that this pattern was their attempt at a bee imitation. Now I don't really see that. It doesn't look much like a bee to me, but it's been popular for 90 years, so obviously the fish think it's something edible. And it looks like there are two popular versions of this. The standard, which uses a Rhode Island Red, which is kind of a brown collar hackle, or the Ke-He Black, which is the exact same fly, but with a black collar hackle. And I'd say the unique characteristic of this pattern is it's got a red tag underneath a pretty long golden pheasant tippet tail. Now one caveat to the one I'm about to tie, I did put some weight on it because if I'm going to fish this thing around here, it'll be in a river and I'll probably swing it as a regular wet fly. But if you are tying this to fish in the still water, or you just want to tie it as it was originally designed, feel free to skip the weight. Now this type of fly, from what I gather, it's pretty popular in the UK and I kind of dig it. It's an easy and fun pattern to tie. I think y'all are going to like it. Let's give it a shot. So there's one in the vise, my first ever Ke-He, a pretty classic, old school Scottish fly. I'm tying this on a size 12. It's a 1X long. I believe that's a 1X strong, barbless wet fly hook. And the recipe doesn't say to weight it, but how I will fish this thing, I am going to put just a few wraps of weight on it. Maybe 9 or 10 wraps of this 015 right in the middle of the body. Now I'm going to put some black thread right behind it, a little bit in front of it, and then take it back to where the barb would have been, where I want to catch in the tail. But before we catch in the tail, we've got a little tag, a red tag. And the recipe didn't say if it should be wool or a synthetic. I imagine in 1930 they probably used a wool. But this is a synthetic and that's going to be just fine. I'm going to use some of this right here to actually try to smooth out that area behind the weight. Now let's catch in the tail on top of this. Golden pheasant tippets and tied pretty long, well past that red tag. I'm going to get about 8 of these right here. And let's get our length. Let's go way out there like that. I think that is, the only picture of it I saw in the book, that's about how long it was. But yeah, it's pretty significant. So either snip off or bury these right here, and let's leave our thread kind of right in the middle and catch in 3 strands of peacock herl. I can break those off right there. And let's wrap it in, catch it into the back where we're going to start wrapping the body. I'm going to leave my thread about close to the midpoint. That way when I'm wrapping these, if they start splitting up or spreading out on me, that thread will hold them into place. Okay, let's catch these off with a couple of wraps. I'm going to do 3 wraps, and I am going to snip these because these stems are getting a little bit thick by now. And if I just broke them off, I might risk pulling one of them out. Now the recipe for the hackle calls for a Rhode Island Red, which I don't have. This is a dark ginger, so it's going to be close enough. And you can get away with using rooster here. It doesn't have to be hen because it's pretty sparse. We do have it weighted, and these are going to be swept back. So several wraps right here. I'm going to fold that back, take a couple more wraps, and now, okay, that little snip just broke off on me. That's fine, I don't have to snip it. Now just wrap this hackle, and 4, maybe 5 wraps. You just kind of either judge it as you get there until you get, you know, not too heavily hackled, but enough to give it the hint of legs sweeping back right here. Now I wasn't counting, but that was at least 4 wraps. So let's catch this off right here. And I'm going to just go ahead and pull all of this back before I snip it off. And there we go. I think that's about the right amount of hackle that I want up here. And I've got it swept back pretty much how I want it. So a few extra wraps just to clean up that head. Now let's whip finish it and see if we have any cleanup. Okay, that wasn't a real smooth whip finish, and I might have a little bit of cleanup. I got a little bit of my thread hanging off right there. Now what you can do if you have a case like this, just catch in some more thread and make your head a little bit bigger, and then it'll clean it up. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to try to snip that little piece off and then put some head cement on it and then call this guy done. But there you go, pretty cool old school classic Scottish wet fly called the Ke-He. I appreciate you watching, everybody. Y'all take care, and we'll see you next time.